Greetings, Kindred. I am Voivode Maquette, and welcome back to another episode of Metaplot Monday on Our World of Darkness. And, oh my god, 900. We hit 900 subscribers. I am freaking floored, man. The only reason I'm mentioning it now is because I'm still kind of like flabbergasted about the whole thing. But I did get a comment on our 900 subscriber special, which was the interview with Cole. Please correct me if I'm saying your name wrong. Orkar Isber, I'm imagining. I'm probably butchering that, and I'm so sorry. But you had asked, can you please do a TLDR on the Baali Homebrew that I had mentioned? And I have an idea what it is, but I think they didn't do too well, sadly. And I actually have some things that I can talk about with this Baali Homebrew, because the Baali are one of the things that are just left out of V5 so far. And we got to keep in mind that V5 is in its infancy. It's still young. It's been around for a couple of years, but the World of Darkness in the 5th edition is still growing. We don't even have werewolves yet, like this is one of those things where they're not going to just throw everything at us at once. They want to save things for later, if they even bring in Baali at all, because Baali is just so freaking, it's destructive to a game, and there's a lot of bloodlines that they have not touched yet, and the Baali might just be one of those things. For those of you who are not 100% sure who the Baali are, there is another clan, basically. The legends say that 3 antediluvians walked into a village of very brutal, demonic worshipping humans, and decided to show them what evil truly was, and they tortured and maimed and then embraced 3 of these individuals, threw them into a well, and it's a horror show. It's really one of the darker stories in Vampire the Masquerade, set pre-flood, because it's during the days of Enoch. And there's a lot of different stories about which 3 antediluvians it was. Some say it was Cappadocius and Malkav and Tzimisce. Some say that it was Tzimisce and Salat, and another. Tzimisce's always in there. One of the major ones, though, that is also in the stories most of the time is Salat. It is believed that his blood was what brought these creatures into existence. And it's 3 more antediluvians, bringing the total up to 16. But these 3 are of this one clan. And I guess I can't really... antediluvian by definition, because it does mean before flood. But I guess they would be 4th gen. But then again, it was also before what I consider the Curse of Generations, where the vampires didn't start going down in power simply because of generation. In my headcanon, personally, I believe that 1st, 2nd, and 3rd gen all had pretty much the same power levels. Except for Cain, who also had the Mark of God, which the way that I've seen it run mechanically is if you do any damage to him, you receive 7 times that damage. Primarily because God wants him to live and suffer. That's obviously a topic for a different story, but the idea is that these pre-flood, so antediluvian vampires, are just bizarre and evil and horrible and blah 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 blah. There's 3 different ways to play Baali. One is as you're evil and you're relishing life. That's it. You run around and you play demonic fun games to amuse yourself, but that's really as far as you're ready to go. There's another one who are all bent on world destruction. They are trying to raise their shaitan, their leader, their clan leader back up, and when they have accomplished this, it's the destruction of the world. And then there's another one that just seems to be completely bent on spreading pestilence. I personally always like the first one. I've always played my Baali on the whole, I'm not here to destroy the world. If I destroy the world, I can't play with it any longer. and showing people what true evil is and things like that, and tempting and playing the snake in the garden style character. Personally, I've never really believed also that Baali and Infernalists are the same thing. I do not believe that at all. I believe that an Infernalist is a vampire of any clan that chooses to sell their soul for power in some fashion, be it dropping their generation artificially through demonic investments, or gaining disciplines they would not have. Most of the time that's blood sorcery or dark thaumaturgy, since it comes from a demonic source. Those types of things. So any clan can be an Infernalist. Baali are just too full of themselves to be infernal. They control demons. They don't sell their souls to demons. They worship those beyond the shroud, or the children, or, as I've been able to try to understand it myself, and again, this is my own personal headcanon, they worship fallen angels that are on other planes of existence, effectively. So are they worshiping devils by definition? I guess yes, because these are angels that have fallen. I don't know. There's just so many ways you could go about this, and so many different ways you can play Baali, just like there's so many different ways you can play any vampire. So that's not really the point. If you guys want a full rundown on the Baali, perhaps we can do a clan discussion on Baali. We haven't really done one of those in a while. But for right now, I do want to get into this this very interesting homebrew that I think was beautifully done, but I don't care for it that much. I actually believe I do agree with Orkar very much that it was nice, but it wasn't done the way that I would like to see it, because I'm actually a huge fan of V5. I love the amalgam system, and I understand that a lot of people don't. But I think that it cleans up a lot of the just overflow and hectic style that Vampire used to be, which is like there's so many different disciplines and everything. I like the fact that those disciplines that are considered clan specific in earlier editions are actually common disciplines put forth in a different way. And I don't believe that Demoinen or Demonin or whatever you want to call it, the Baali signature discipline should be any different. I actually think that this discipline deserves to be set in the exact same facet as amalgams. And the Baali clan book PDF homebrew that is done the best writes it up as its own discipline. And I don't really see that. I don't even think that it should be considered under a blood sorcery. If anything, I think it should fall under possibly Oblivion, in the fact that it's cutting through the gauntlet and just doing things like that. There's so many different interesting qualities about the Baali's specific disciplines, and we're just going to go ahead and jump right into this. But before we actually get into that, I do think that the Baali have had a preview in Vampire the Masquerade 5th edition canon, and that is in the Forbidden Religions book under, and I'll bring that up here, and I'll shrink myself down so I'm not in the way, under this right here. Boop. Am I good? I think I'm good. The Soldiers of the Adversary, and I believe I talked about these on my 666 special, because I had to. If I was going to do something with Baali and infernalism and stuff, it would have to be here. And this really does seem like a cult that is being cultivated by those Baali who wish to destroy the world. These are Satan-worshipping vampires, and where I don't believe that the Baali really hold much when it comes to the idea of Satanism and stuff like that, because they're kind of beyond that, I do think that they would push other vampires in that direction, just to mess with them. And the Soldiers of the Adversary, if you guys have not seen it, is such a very interesting thing. It was founded by this Santiago Molinero. I am so bad with names. And it's just such an interesting path of enlightenment study of vampires who believe that they understand that there's a fight between good and evil, and that they need to worship things. So if you guys want to see anything really, really cool that's Baali adjacent, I do suggest the Forbidden Religions book. On page 78, you start getting the Soldiers of the Adversary, where these are actually vampires who are fighting in the name of Satan himself. But getting on to that, I want to show you, this is where you can find the PDF. It's scribed.com. And this is a Bloodline V5 Homebrew PDF. It is right here where you can see it. I am lucky enough to have a copy right here because it is beautifully done. And they've got other things here. I believe, Tom Mello here is who uploaded it. He also uploaded Gargoyles, the Daughters of Cacophony, and the Magar, which are like a Chiasid bloodline kind of thing. He's also got a Zamitzi PDF in here, some lore sheets, great stuff. I do want to point that out. But this right here is the PDF itself. I'm very lucky to have a copy of this. It's so pretty. Also, this guy, Tom, if Tom is the one who actually wrote this, I'm going to see if his name is on here. Designers, written. Okay, it's. Oh my God, I don't see Tom's name on here specifically, but it says written by many creative creatures over the years. Most of this book is a collaboration of the Baali Clan book and other Vampire the Masquerade source books, with a little creativity on my part, it says. It's got some amazing story. I've read through this. It's really, really good. The artwork is beautiful, as always, with a lot of these. I can't even really say as always. The artwork is beautiful. Sorry, it's like 3:30 in the morning. I just got home from like a 10-hour drive. But it goes into the origins of the Baali society, all that stuff. Beautiful, beautiful artwork, beautiful writing. You guys are incredibly talented to be able to do things like this. And this looks professional. This looks like something that was presented out through Renegade. And I really can't at all say anything bad about this. Here it says that the Baali clan disciplines are presence, obfuscate, and dominion, which is your classic Baali power spread. I do want to go over the Bane here. It says that the Banes... I do want to go over the Bane here. It says that the Baali are particularly vulnerable to religious symbols, unless those symbols have lain abandoned for at least half a century. The Baali are repelled. Crosses, Stars of David, chants of verses from the Quran, all repel the Baali as the folklore bane to holy symbols. The Baali also suffer double damage from any faith-based power. Awesome. I also love the fact that it says that if they lay abandoned for 50 years, they can tolerate it here. The Baali compulsion for this homebrew is Baali defilement. Let's see. The vampire is compelled to corrupt or defile innocents. They will do this physically or mentally, depending on the situation. Their desire to defile is so strong, they will receive a 2-die penalty on any roll not involved with the corruption or defilement of others. This will continue until they are satisfied with corrupting the body and soul of an innocent. So I like what they've got here for their compulsions and stuff, and they do have them set up as a very good clan set aside altogether. Damonin here says that it is a diabolic power practiced by the Baali. The powers were taught to them by the children to harness the corruptive powers of outer darkness. And like I said, the children are those who wait beyond the shroud, or the children behind the shroud. Those are those fallen angels that I was talking about. This is a sorcery type discipline. It is a low to high masquerade threat, and the blood resonance is caloric. The blood calls out for fear and terror. And I do like that. I think that's great. The book states, these are the mysteries of the Baali's black arts, torn whole and beating from the sorcerer kings of ancient cultures and prehistoric civilizations. Incoherent memories passed from tome to tongue, harking to time of oblivion. They are sibilant secrets in which all beings to end and begin again. With every new night and novice brought into the circle, the telling grows shorter. Beautifully put. I really do love the descriptions on this, and they do have really great stuff. They have Sense the Sin, which is a classic Baali power. I don't want to go over this in full-on detail because they are trying to sell this. And I don't want to do anything like... I don't want to read it out too much. But, Fear of the Void Below, Conflagration... all the classic Daemonin powers are here. And that is actually the one thing that I do not like about this, is the fact that it is a discipline. It's a full-on discipline, but check this out. Level 1, Sense the Sin. Level 2, Fear of the Void Below. Level 3, Conflagration. There isn't a choice. There is no level 1, Sense the Sin, or something like that. They literally just V5 appropriated the power of Daemonin for this, and it's written well. It works really well, but it also doesn't sit in the same universe as V5 to me. If you were going to just leave the 1, the 2, the 3, the 4, and the 5, personally, what I would have done is found a way to hook these up as some type of amalgams, which is how V5 is doing the independent things. And if you did Sense the Sin, perhaps you could do... Perhaps you might want to change a few things around here. I love the idea of Baali having presence. I really, really do. But I'm thinking instead of Daemonin, perhaps they should have Oblivion. Or perhaps they should have Dominate or something like that. Like something where you can mix these powers together just to make them make a little bit more sense. If you really, really want to, and you should if you want to, another good thing to do would be give them blood sorcery. Like the Tremere and the Banu Hakim, and that would actually make a lot of sense for the story because the Banu Hakim absolutely hate the Baali. They have such a disgusting, sordid history. And perhaps this might be one of those things where people are like, you're really giving them these disciplines together? You might want to consider doing Presence, Oblivion, and Blood Sorcery. And doing stuff like that, because perhaps with Conflagration, it's a mix of blood sorcery and oblivion that allows them to reach into hell itself and throw that dark balefire instead of it just being the standard discipline. Sense the Sin really, to me, seems like almost an Auspex power, personally. Fear of the Void Below seems like a Dominate Offuscate mix. Possibly Auspex, but I would say more Dominate than anything else. Psychomentia, I butchered that, and you guys can fix that for me if you want to. With this power, the Baali combines his ability to read the psyche of a victim with the ability to summon up matter from the dark outer space, or from the outer dark. Psychomentia pits a victim against the most dangerous and shameful parts of their own subconscious. That right there almost seems like the chemistry powers that the Ravno use. So it's presence plus obfuscate mixed together kind of thing to produce that type of vision. A lot of this actually could be presence plus obfuscate mixed together, creating almost like a type of chemistry. And then instead of Demoinen, giving them either their own like oblivion or giving them blood sorcery. Now, I understand I keep popping out with oblivion there, and the reason behind that is because the Baali have always had some kind of strange connection with Clan Lasombra. I'm not saying that they hang out or anything like that, but for some reason, like the idea of apostates, it's very common to have apostate Lasombra, and so just having the oblivion right there would be very easy. Plus, it explains the raw source of oblivion, being from the Cappadocians, and one of the popular stories of their creation was that Cappadocius was involved in that kind of thing. Perhaps the powers that these guys should get should be something reflecting on the three antediluvians that created them, or something like that. In which case, you would possibly go oblivion because of the Cappadocians part on it. I would probably say something like dominate because of the Solubri, who are said to be involved, and also the Tzimisce themselves being involved like that. But I really do think that the presence, obfuscate, and either oblivion or blood sorcery would really work best for what we have here. But other than the fact that I don't agree with the write-up of the power, I've got to say, this is a beautiful book. It's put together so nice. I mean, look at this. It's so beautiful. The book also goes into dark thaumaturgy rituals, which, gotta say, love them. There's absolutely no reason why these powers cannot be used for infernalists. Again, I don't see many Baali using dark thaumaturgy, because that means that they're using a demon to gain power. And I don't know, they just seem too full of themselves for that. Like, they have too much self-respect to bend to the will of some kind of demon. But we got all the classics here. Call forth the host. That screwed me up in characters in the past. Bind the interloper. Bind the familiar. Like, there's a lot of really, really good rituals here that are written out for V5, and they're written out perfectly. We do have one lore sheet on here, which is the Sahar Hannibal, which is after his grandsire Tanit went into torpor, he became the leader of the Order of Moloch, the Baali that are descendants of the Methuselah known as Moloch, who was also called Andromelech. These names, man. By the Canaanites of ancient Phoenicia, and Baal Haman by the Canaanites of Carthage, where he was worshipped openly as a god. Subtle, seductive, and cruel beyond human imagination, Moloch devoted his existence to controlling the sleep cycle of the powerful entities known primarily as the children. Moloch's descendants follow his teachings, committing horrors and atrocities and defiling humanity, lulling the children down with a symphony of horrors to prevent them from waking and ending the world. So the Moloch cult are the ones who are not trying to destroy the world here, as it says. But I mean, come on, guys, just look at the art. It's gorgeous. They've got this here for having a relationship map set up. We got classic Baali artwork here from the original clan book. And that's, I mean, I really don't have much else to say about this book. I think this is a gorgeous book. I really do. I just personally do not care for the way Demonin is represented here, because they're giving it its own thing. Which, dude, if you're into it, it is well written. I guess it's not within the spirit of V5 right now, because if it is its own discipline, it should have multiple choices for each level. And if it is, again, going to be within the spirit of V5, I really do think it should be amalgams. But other than that, this book is amazing. They did such a good job, and I do not see any reason whatsoever, other than personal taste, that people shouldn't use this book and get it from Scribe here, and just, oh my god, like, seriously, this is such a beautifully written thing. Other than that, I hope this covers for the TLDR. I really hope this covers it to your satisfaction, Orcar. If not, like I said, maybe we can do a whole Baali discussion, because that would just be a lot of fun. Go over the history of the Baali and just let me rant for a little while, maybe pour myself a glass of wine and just go. I just, if this is the same homebrew that you're thinking of, I'd like to hear your discussion on it. That goes for everybody, though, not just Orcar. I would like to hear everybody's thoughts on what I've shown you here. Obviously, I didn't go into too full of detail because they worked so hard on this, and it's an individual person who made this homebrew, and I don't want to just give it out while they're trying to do what they're doing with it. Let me check also. Okay, so looking on the Storyteller's Vault, I do not see this on here, which is really, really sad. If the author does see this video, because I'm talking about your video, and I'm sure like somebody out there knows him, dude, man, get your stuff on the Storyteller's Vault. It's amazing. I don't think I'm on the thing again. I'm all over the dang place. I do not believe that this has a... I'm trying to find out before I say anything. It does not appear to have a Dark Pack logo or anything on it, which is like, you guys, seriously, sign the Dark Pack, put this thing on Storyteller's Vault, because the Vampire the Masquerade fans need to see this, and you should be able to sell this. Because it's gorgeous, it's beautifully written, the artwork is amazing. You guys all did an amazing job through all of it. And just because it's not my cup of tea for the Baali doesn't mean it's not going to be somebody else's. So yeah, I hope this is to your satisfaction. But yeah, thank you for joining me in this Metaplot Monday in our Vampire the Masquerade showcasing, I guess, of this beautiful homebrew. I am Voivode Maquette. This is Our World of Darkness, and I will see you in the next video. Good evening.